Back again, Connor Southall, TalkNorwichCity. City. Just reviewing today's action, if you can do. That was bizarre. I think is the best word for it. 7 goals, 4 penalties, potential season-ending injury for Moritz Light. Now, I think there are enough sort of plot lines to fill a big budget movie. To be completely honest. For Norwich, a really bad day at the office. Never really got going from the get-go, I don't think, and Hull City seemed to carve chances at will with Hernandez and the 2 wide players who have to, it has to be said, were excellent all afternoon. I think Norwich allowed them too much space and too much freedom to roam, and it just appeared to me the balance wasn't quite right throughout the whole Norwich side, and I think that comes with changing, reverting back to the 4 at the back formation, which Norwich look a bit less comfortable in, a bit less balanced in, and I actually thought Hanley and Closer were played for too far apart for the majority of the game, but that sort of is an implication of the possession style which Norwich are trying to implement. I think you want to get them on the ball in order to make that gap big enough for Norwich to sort of probe different sides. That gap needs to be big, but today I felt it was too big, and I think Hull had a nice afternoon in terms of their offensive play. In terms of midfield, obviously the Leitner injury hurt Norwich. I thought, even though I didn't think he was particularly great for the start of the game, gave away a lot of passes. It's not this adept, intelligent, quality, technical midfielder we've seen so far. And let's hope that injury isn't season threatening, because I think he's been very good for Norwich for large periods. It really was a really bizarre game. I think Norwich played with a bit more width, which was nice to see. I thought that pace was evident. Hernandez looked a threat throughout the game. Oliveira had a few, had a few good touches and held the ball up well at times, but again didn't do too much for me. Marley Watkins was poor, and again, you're reverting back to this inconsistency throughout the Norwich side, and I think that the side looked more adept to playing a 3 at the back, and you can't help but wonder what this season would be without James Maddison, who again Norwich have relied upon for 3 goals today, even when their performance was pretty fragmented at parts, I felt. I've run out of superlatives to use with that boy this season, because he's been utterly brilliant, and I think everyone at the club knew he had talent, but perhaps not so much of the talent that he's displayed throughout this season, and he's done it consistently as well. I think that was his 14th, 15th goal of the season today, so really pleasing for him. First senior hat-trick, obviously, but again raises another issue. You take Maddison out of this side next season, hypothetically he goes in the summer. I think realistically he probably goes in the summer. Where in Norwich stand then? Because offensively they look inept without him, essentially, and it just raises more issues. I think obviously 2 of the goals penalties today, but the kid's unbelievable. The way the ball sticks to his feet, he's 2-footed, he twists, he turns, he drops the shoulder like you can't believe, and he's a quality player evidently, and what disappointed me today more than anything, I think was it was average for a lot of the players. I thought Jamal Lewis looked stranded at points, looked a bit lost. Harrison Reed had comfortably his worst game at right back. He's playing sort of 5 yards beyond the line at one point, and again lacked sort of definition in midfield when he slotted in there after Leitner went off, and him and Tete I don't think make a good partnership. So Norwich were carved open a bit too easily today, and I think that's sort of a consequence of this added width, but also of the 4 at the back. I think if you want to play a possession style, the 3 or the 5 at the back suits that a lot more, with sort of roaming fullbacks, and it allows a lot of Norwich's players to come more central. Maddison gets on the ball more, Leitner gets on the ball more, Oliveira drops in, and I think you've got this more sort of efficient unit set up for possession football, but obviously not as threatening as having the width and the pace. So it's sort of the 2 dilemmas and the 2 contrasts, I think, which are quite an interesting sort of debate. In terms of this season, Norwich are in a fortunate position where they're not going up and they're not going down. So what you want to see is progression, and you want to see a side who who put some sort of run together. I think, without a win in 5. Okay, before this game it's one loss in 13, but it's now without a win in 5, and that pretty much sums up why Norwich are in mid-table and why they haven't been good enough this year. Because to be 3-1 up and lose in any situation, whether you're home or away, for me is poor, and you can argue the decision for their second penalty. You can argue a lot of things, but I think with the plight Hull are in at the moment, Norwich have given them hope in what's been a pretty abysmal season for them, both on and off the field, and you hope they turn it around, because I think no football fan likes to see back-to-back relegations for any football club, and obviously with their ownership debates, you can see how low the attendance is there today, and what Norwich didn't need to do was give them any sort of early hope. Well, they did that with the strike from Irvin, who was composed all afternoon. I thought looks a very good player. Obviously signing from Burton and has done a lot. Hasn't done a lot this year, but a quality player nonetheless. As from here, I think Norwich are fortunate in the sense they've got another game on Tuesday. Hopefully get this one out of their system, and get ready to go again at Carrow Road for Reading next week, which again they've won at Leeds today, so that's another difficult game for Norwich.